Hello and welcome to Investing with ESP. Today I would like to talk about commodities and what we look for in commodities. Well, it happens to be a little after 2 p.m. on a Friday. And interestingly enough, 2 p.m. is the traditional cutoff time for the commodities market. So you'll notice a lot of fluctuation in the stock market and the commodities around 2 p.m. And that's why. So let's take a look at the commodities and see what they're doing and how they closed. Um, I'm first thing is I was looking at the news here, and you could see that gold prices closed down $24.70 to 2,160. Let's take a look at gold. So here we have gold. Um, there's not much in the news here that I'm interested in. So let's close the news and really focus at the chart. Gold has pulled back, it looks like, to a support level. And I'm going to go ahead and draw that support level here. And you can see that white line at 2153 approximately. I'm going to zoom out first before we continue and look at the monthly chart. Looking at the broader chart, it gives you a better view of what historically it has done, where it has stopped and reversed, and where the volume is. So looking at gold right now, we can see from '05 until now, there's pretty much this long straight trend. Then from here, we came down, we formed a cup. This is generally what they call a cup and a handle. So here's our handle, and now our handle is extending upward. But this last month, you can see that we came up to a resistance point, backed off, and then this month we broke through. Now, looking at this candle, we can see that the buyers really tried to push the numbers up to like 2250, but the sellers pushed it way back down, and we're resting at 2.9 right now. And you can see the support level that we drew is around 2153. Let's zoom in a little bit and get a closer look on the weekly scale. Again, each one of these bars indicates 1 week, and you can see where the volume is. The volume kind of stops around here, and that really coincides well with the peaks of these weeks. Now, we did break through, but like all breakthroughs, they tend to have some sort of regression. So we could see that we broke through and then we regressed back down to this support line. Looking at this candle, it's kind of scary to me. This is more of a reversal candle than anything. And I would expect from here, the next candle would look something like a down candle. But anything is possible. Let's go ahead and take a look a little closer in on the daily chart. I like to do this analysis to go through the various levels as either I have intentions of trading this as a long-term trade or a short-term trade. A shorter-term trade, I would only look at a very near term, but right now I'm looking at all levels because I do have my own personal investment in gold. So we could see it bounced around here. It broke through pretty strong. It reached a peak over here, and then that was the resistance, and it pushed down. And you can see this level, which was resistance, it was resistance here and here, now becomes support. So we can see that gold went all the way up, came around here, fell back down here. It's at a volume level that it has done a lot of trades. Now, I have a bot, and my trade bot, which doesn't have a full name yet, indicates that it's still in a green trend, but it did have this little reversal so far. The bot didn't sell it, so I wouldn't say you have to sell it. But if it broke through this support, I would get concerned. I might exit my my position here and then re-enter when it came back down to here at the 2093 level, which you could see coincides with this trend line. These are three trend lines that are part of a package I had bought from Simpler Trading, and they provide it's kind of a moving average, but it has some additional features to it that enhance the layout of this trend line. So what normally they would say from Simpler Trading is that if you enter this red area, this is a safe area to purchase for it to continue its northern northern exposure. But sometimes it does break through and continue down. Looking at the daily chart, it's not something that I would buy over here necessarily, but it does have the potential to continue its upward movement, provided it holds this level. So one thing to note is we are not predictors of the future. We only react to the circumstances. And so it's a very important thing when you're trading, you're reacting appropriately. And here, if you even look at where the bot kind of came into this, it's reacting to the reversal. It's not guessing where the reversal is because we don't want to guess. So it's here, like if you made money and you have profit, take some off the table. So what if you don't make as much money as you possibly can? Play with the bank's money, and this way you get ahead. So that looks like gold. And on a shorter time frame, just to show you what I'm talking about, at like 2 p.m., you could see here 2 p.m. This is where that bottom was. It stopped, and now because the market closed, you have the unprofessional traders trading it, and it's coming back up. And I'm sure that we'll see a bit of a rise here, but that's just my guess. Let's take a look at some of the other commodities and what's in the news. So let's take a look at silver. /SIL. We'll look at the silver futures. Now, silver is a little bit different from gold. Whereas gold is used more as a precious metal, it does have some commercial applications. Silver is a very heavily used commercial application. So we would expect silver to react by how the market is or the economy is shaping up. If manufacturing electronics is high, we would expect silver to kind of go along with it because it's used in a lot of electronics and manufacturing. Now, let's zoom out and take a look at the monthly levels. And we can see here the volume. We have a bunch of resistance levels right up over here at 29.9 roughly. Currently, it's trading at 24.85. So that puts us in this area where my mouse is. On the monthly chart, the robot's not trading it, but then again, that really doesn't mean much because we don't usually trade the monthly chart. Let's take a look over here, a little zoomed in because we have some levels already drawn here. And let's take a look at the weekly chart and see if we can't get a little more clarity to this picture, because silver has been very weird. Look at this. It goes down, it goes all the way up here to 29, then pulled back as low as like 16, 17, it looks like. And now it's back at the 24 range. So, it's a little hard to actually print any sort of resistance and support levels other than the ones that are here already that I've drawn. 22.26 at the bottom, and then right now we bumped off of the 25.44. I think we're in a positive trend. It is a little weird and dicey, but given that I think semiconductors are going to be doing well because of AI, we should then see silver, correspond at some point. But let's look at the shape of these candles, and it might tell a different story. And you can see a big push up by buyers, sellers push it down, big push up by buyers, a little bit push back, and we land at this resistance level. Then again, they try to make a big push up, and we really get pushed back down now. So that could be the start of the market pushing back. And you can see here, it tends to go up and come straight back down to this lower support level over here, the 22,626. So right now, I don't know what I would recommend on a weekly chart, but let's take a look at the daily. The daily, you could see the bot was a buyer down at 23, but it's going to probably sell around this 25 mark if it doesn't change too fast. So I don't think we're buying silver, but if you wanted to short it, that's always a feasibility. Taking a look at the TTM squeeze here, and it's interesting to note. I talk every once in a while about the squeeze, and you could see the red dots here showing the squeeze, and it's going sideways. Then it released, and it released upward. Now that's because it's been doing that up and down thing, and so it released back into that direction to make it, this back and forth, because really it's just the market playing with numbers at this point. Let's go take a look at copper, because copper is another industrial um, another industrial application for metals. And what I usually look at for copper, because I don't trade copper directly, is Freeport McMoran, FCX. They're a proxy, so to speak, for what copper is doing. And you could see that they had a nice trend on the daily chart. They did have some resistance up here, and they pulled back from that. And again, the shape of the candles tell us a story. If we look at these candles, this candle is a normal candle with a medium-sized wick on either side. That's those little tails. This candle is a pretty strong candle, right? It looks like buyers were buy, 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 and they didn't get pushed back, right? So that's a good strong candle over here. Let's zoom out. We're going to go out to the monthly view and just see what copper looks like on a larger scale. And let's draw some support and resistance lines. I'm going to draw this resistance line right around here because we have some wicks. We generally look for 3 wicks that line up, but I'm also looking at this volume ledge as a level. So I would say this 45, it makes a very logical point for resistance and support. Again, we can see that here. It's bisecting a couple of candles, but then again, these are monthly candles, and that really does look like a step in the volume. Next one, let's look up at a top again, and you can see there is a volume ledge over here, which coincides with this wick and a couple of candles that went over here. This candle almost reached there. So it looks like that would be the next stop up. Let's go back to the weekly and see what it looks like when we look at the weekly. You could see it had a nice big week over here. We're pretty high up. I mean, like, I'm starting to get a nosebleed, but it's possible it'll continue, but I don't like that wick. You could see when it formed that wick, it tends to push back. So you might get another push up next week, but probably then it'll fall back. So again, let's go zoom into the daily and we can see it again. Freeport McMoran on the daily, we had a buy scenario. It sold it off. And, we might have one more push up before it kind of comes back down. It tends to revert to the mean, right? So if you have this trend up and it gets pretty far from our trend line, it comes back to the trend line, goes up, comes back to the trend line, goes up, makes its way partway back to the trend line, goes up some more, but then it really does make its way back to the trend line. So now we have an up back to the trend line before it's going to continue up. Again, we would only expect copper to continue to rise based on market conditions. So that takes a look at some of the commodities. We can also take a look at those are the ones that I look at as those precious metals and copper. I don't really dabble with wheat or soybeans or pork bellies and that kind of stuff. That's so far outside of my normal everyday realm that uh, I don't go there. But there are commodity traders, and there's a whole commodity desks at these big banks that deal with all of that. What else I would like to look at is the euro and dollar. That's very often known as we have the 6E, the euro futures. So let's take a look at the euro futures. Now, this is not a commodity, this is a future, so it's something different, but I'm going to lump it together because I don't really track that many futures and that are outside of actual stocks. So stonks. So let's take a look. Well, we have some news here. Anything interesting in the news? I don't see anything jumping out at me. Um, that's interesting that Citigroup predicts more Russian oil starting next year. But let's take a look at this chart here. We're going to go out to the monthly chart because that's what I like to start. Give us the big picture. It has been on this downtrend since 2009. And it's been playing inside a channel. So you could see these two lines I drew. It kind of like bounces in and out of this channel. But again, you can see I drew my support and resistance lines, and it is observing them based on volume. And let's take a look closer and see what's going on. So since about October in 23, it's been making a comeback. The euro was really down. It's come back somewhat. It's still in an uptrend on the monthly chart. And right now it's at 1.0845. So let's take a look. We have some lines already drawn here based on volume. We can zoom in, look at the week, look at how it observes our levels, zoom in, and we're not in a buying spree by the bot. So let's see what happens. Let's look closer in on the daily. Now, the daily is sort of interesting. It still is in a buy trend. It's still sort of bullish. It's still in a positive trend, but we did have a pullback. And one of the things I noticed about the pullbacks for the euro is that when it pulls back, it tends to pull back rather significantly. So you can see here is the trend line where it pulled back. It hung out here, and then it resumed its northern run. But here, it had a bunch of red bars, and these were pretty strong, and they pulled it down pretty far. So I would expect it to do something similar, maybe pull back. But a lot of this has to do, again, with how you feel the economy is doing in Europe versus the US. Right now, I think there's a lot of disturbances in Europe. Tourism, I think, is down, but that's really just my guess based on some conversations with a few of my friends. I am not trading this at the moment, but I like to keep an eye on it because when I do see a clear trend, I like to trade it on a shorter term, and you can make a lot of money trading the euro. The currency market, interestingly enough, is actually the largest market out there, bigger than the stocks. It's bigger than commodities. It's the most traded, and it's traded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you are a gambler and you need Gamblers Anonymous, I would seek that out. But otherwise, the currency futures market is crazy because it is very volatile, and you can make a lot of money very quickly or lose a lot of money very quickly. And that would take me to the end of my lecture on the euro. I would like to ask everybody to like this video, subscribe. You can make a comment, ask questions, or share this with your friends. As always, I look forward to talking with you again and helping you help me invest. I do this with my own money. I do this for my own edification. Anything you learn here, I hope it's good for you, but you make your own decisions when you trade, and be careful, because you can make money and you can lose money. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing with you my experience and what I'm doing usually. So, with that, have a very good day, everyone.